Welcome, Climate Viewers. This is Jim Lee from ClimateViewer News at ClimateViewer.com, ClimateViewer.org, and WeatherModificationHistory.com. We got some breaking news for you. Some of you may remember quite a while ago when the U.S. Air Force said they were going to dismantle HAARP. And I've gotten many people who've asked me about this, and they said, well, didn't they dismantle HAARP? I thought they were tearing it down. No, the University of Alaska Fairbanks took over the HAARP facility. So if we want to go back in time a little bit, maybe you guys remember this one. U.S. Air Force to Congress, HAARP dismantled after final experiment in June. This was May 15th, 2015. And I'm kind of bringing that back. It's one of my favorite memes I've ever made. Dismantling. Well, I guess the one for today is mothballed. So we got some breaking news on the HAARP facility, and basically they're having financial trouble. Apparently they don't understand the difference between millions and billions of dollars, and it's quite expensive to run a facility like HAARP, especially when you're just basically looking for handouts from people interested in tuning into the ionosphere, and they've been having some trouble with oil finances and all of that sort of thing up in Alaska. So turns out there's a good possibility that HAARP may be shut down permanently if they can't find a I didn't get lipstick. This is the beach, baby. I was at the beach for the last 4 days, and this is me tan. That's why I wore a white shirt today, just so you MFers could see the difference. Check it out. You see the difference? I am tanned as a man can get after just 4 days. So yes, I soaked up a year's worth of sunlight in 4 days. Wow. But yeah, I feel wonderful. I laid on the beach and I grounded myself and removed all the excess electromagnetic radiation from the body. And defunded is going to be the word for today, and mothballed. So let's get to the story. What's going on? I got a heads up from a man in the know, and who better knows than this individual. I will allow him to remain anonymous, but got a heads up on this thing right here. So tomorrow at the University of Alaska, they're going to be having a Facilities and Land Management Committee meeting. It will be from 1 o'clock to 3 p.m. Alaska time, which is 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I also included a link in the details to the live stream of this event so that you guys can see it yourself. I'm going to ignore chat. You guys are getting me all off the subject. Jesus. You people are something. So over here, if you go to their Board of Regents, yeah, almost red. Does it hurt? This is my first official sunburn in my entire life, and no, it doesn't hurt. Thank God it doesn't hurt anymore. It hurt for a day, but yeah, this will turn into a beautiful golden brown. You have to let your meat rest after you cook it. But regardless, how dare you enjoy your life and make YouTube videos? I'm certainly a shill. That's a fact. But I'm snatching all your people up. And this is a no stupid people zone. So let's get to it. So Board of Regents, Facilities and Land Management Committee agenda. And if you scroll over here on the sidebar, what you're going to see is right down here, letter K, UAF, High Frequency Active Auroral Research Project information item. So this will be on the agenda for the meeting they're having tomorrow. And if you click on this, it will take you to a PDF or a portable document format for those who've never used the internet before. But anyway, so if you go to the PDF, here's what we have. High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, BOR, FLMC, Information Item, May 2019. This will be live streamed tomorrow. So, just I am kind of red, Christina. I mean, I have Indian in my blood. I'm Apache. But anyway, we won't get into all of that. I mean, not like certain senators that claim to be. Anyway, we won't get into all that. We'll leave politics out of this for today. So let me get my face out of the way, and we'll go through this real quick. HAARP 6 research campaign was conducted March 25th to 2019. Funding agencies included the National Science Foundation, the Office of Naval Research, Air Force Research Lab, Canada Council of the Arts, with experiments from Cornell University, University of Alaska Fairbanks, Virginia Tech, Naval Research Lab, Eastern Michigan University, Concordia University, and ham radio operators around the globe who tuned in on Twitter, and they had a great time. Christopher Fallon, ex-director of HAARP, is in the chat room. If you guys want to say hi to him, Christopher Fallon has been a hell of an individual and has been very open and transparent with me. I appreciate all of his help and being so open. He was doing a great service for the U of A, and I don't think they really appreciated his hard work. So shout out to Christopher Fallon right here in chat. He's a hell of a fella. So that being said, you guys keep in touch with him. Great guy. Anyway, so Chris tried his best to really, when the Air Force and the Navy were running HAARP, we were not privy to anything going on up there for years on end. And Christopher Fallon became the director of HAARP. He was on Twitter. He was announcing the campaigns in advance. And he did a great job of being a public liaison. And, of course, you're going to have the people who just believe every conspiracy under the sun, who, attacked him daily. And then he's getting attacked from the rear from the U of A people who are like, hey, don't talk about this. And it's not a copper tone tan, damn it. This is not copper tone, okay? I didn't put any freaking stuff on my skin, okay? This is just the sun. This is the UV radiation cooking the body. And personally, like I said, I don't burn. I glow, okay? This is me glowing, okay? So quit talking about my tan, man. We're talking about HAARP here. This is serious stuff, okay? So during the campaign, researchers investigated radio-enhanced in air glow, artificial aurora, something I've talked about on my HAARP page for many years, including relation to the neutral aurora and the use of measuring high altitude winds of the thermosphere, the ionospheric generation of very low frequency radio waves, and testing new communications applications of artificial ionospheric plasma structures. For the first time under UAF management, a transmission artist from Concordia joined several other scientists in exploring the boundaries of our knowledge of radio wave interactions in the upper atmosphere. While there is continued interest from the research community, HAARP does not have another research campaign scheduled and will likely not proceed with planning campaigns until additional baseline funding can be determined. Varying levels of operation suspension options are being explored. Operation suspension options are being explored. Do I smell a Government shutdown. Oh, wait, the government doesn't run this thing anymore. The University of Alaska does. Do I smell a HAARP shutdown? Or is it just being mothballed? So, sustainable base funding, because money matters. The GI would continues to work with the Associate Vice President Miles Baker, Director of Federal Relations Dustin Bryant, and the Alaska Congressional Delegation to secure funding for HAARP in the federal fiscal year budget 20. Discussions continue to be positive and help raise awareness of potential users of federal funding agencies. The HAARP Summit at the Woodrow Wilson Center in Washington, D.C. was conducted April 9th, 2019 with strong support from the research community. If anybody can find me video of the HAARP Summit at the Woodrow Wilson Center in Washington, D.C., I would greatly appreciate that and love to put that up on this YouTube channel. So that's called all you climate viewers. HAARP Summit, Woodrow Wilson Center, Washington, D.C., April 9, 2019. Find me the video. That's an order. At our request, Senator Murkowski submitted a $10 million appropriations request to the Senate Appropriation Committee on Ionospheric Research, a portion of which could be directed towards HAARP. I mean, a portion of which? What's she going to do with the rest of it? I mean, buy new furniture? Anyway, I mean, it's ionospheric research. I mean, anyway, the people, government with their money, I swear to God. Additionally, Senator Sullivan has developed policy language for consideration in the 2020 National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA, which highlights the importance of active ionospheric research facilities in the United States to include HAARP and the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico, and advocating for their use. In alignment with federal appropriation cycle, the Defense Appropriations Subcommittee is expected to have a draft bill in July, markups in late August, and a final bill in October. Given Congress's past several budget cycles, this timeline is somewhat speculative. We remain, because they're so busy, attacking Trump on a daily basis, they may never actually even get to the budget. So that's just, where we are today, people. All right. We remain optimistic that the Democrats will stop talking about HAARP long enough to give us money for HAARP, that we will receive strong indication of the viability of near-term federal funding for HAARP in fiscal year 20 cycle. The first opportunity to gauge success will be in September after markup. If the ionospheric research appropriations request is successful, the earliest funding might be available to HAARP in October. So that means from now till October, anybody on YouTube claiming that HAARP is steering a storm or doing something to, steer the weather, they're out of their freaking gourd because it's off. They don't have the money to run it, period, point blank. While we wait for a positive indication of sustainable funding by September 2019, the program will create a contingency plan for proceeding with the transition of the site to caretaker status with minimum staffing pending assessment of future funding prospects. Caretaker status. What does that mean? That means mothballed. So HAARP's going to be shut down, if only temporarily. Property Transfer UAF continues to work with the U.S. Air Force and the Army Corps of Engineers to identify the final administrative actions required for the conveyance of a quitclaim deed, possibly concluding the summer-fall of 2019. So that would mean that they may actually sell the darn place off. So who knows what the fate of HAARP will be. That remains to be seen. Dollars are definitely going to be an indicator of how this is going to go. So everybody tune in tomorrow to the live stream page. It's right here. It's currently got nothing there. I've got an MMA mixed martial arts class for the exact same time that this is going to be going live. So 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. So from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. My daughter's class is at 5:30. Mine's at right around 7. So I'm gonna be there. I love it. Okay. So at the very least, I'm gonna record. I'm just gonna set this thing to record and leave the house. And then I'll upload the video when I get home. But you guys can go ahead and tune in. Link is in the details. Right under where it says live stream, and the URL ends in live. I will post it in chat for you guys. Get your own copy if you got Open Broadcast or any kind of other recording software. If you have a YouTube channel, hell, broadcast it live. This is public information, and it's supposed to be public, and there ain't a lot they can do about you rebroadcasting it. So do your part and spread the word. Tomorrow they will be talking about how broke they are, how they failed to find funding for HAARP, and that's that on that. This is something separate. Let me get rid of that. And like I said, this is Chris Fallon. He's in chat. I want to say a special thank you to Chris for answering so many of my questions, being so transparent while he was the director of HAARP. Chris is no longer the director of HAARP. He's moved on to other bigger, better things, and I want to wish him well in that, and thank him for all the transparency he brought to HAARP while he was there. I'm still, on the fence about how I feel about the whole idea of messing with the ionosphere. What the long-term ramifications are. It seems like, most of what happens is, pretty short-term. The solar winds put everything right back to the way it was the minute they turned the microwave, the high-frequency transmissions off. But regardless, I'm still out to lunch on that. But at the same time, we cannot have an open, honest dialogue with the scientists that are doing these experiments if we continue to mock them, if we continue to threaten them. That's why the motto on this channel is attack ideas, not people. That's why I have the relationships with scientists and meteorologists that I do, because mutual respect, respect is earned, and I showed Chris respect, and in turn, he picked up the phone today when I called him, and I greatly appreciate that. So that's the kind of dialogue that we want to continue to have with the individuals that are not just doing space weather modification, ionospheric heating, but cloud seeding guys. Eventually, maybe we'll get the military to talk, but anybody who watched my conversation with the U.S. Naval Research Lab at the Weather Modification Conference last year, they were big-eyed and saying, we don't want to talk about HAARP. So at least Chris was willing to do that, and I greatly appreciate that. You could find him on Twitter at CTFallon, and give him a follow. So just to kind of close it out here, if you guys haven't been over to ClimateViewer.com and checked out the maps, so that you know what we're talking about here, maybe you've never even heard of HAARP or any of this stuff, you can go over there, and you can also come to ClimateViewer.com at the very top where it says Geoengineering. Click on that. Scroll down past where David Keith talks about how geoengineering is going to kill a whole bunch of people, and past the frequently asked questions section, and you will find HAARP and the Sky Heaters. It is available at climateviewer.com/HAARP. This should give you a good backgrounder on what an ionospheric heater is, what they do, why they do it, and all of that sort of thing. And, I've got maps, of course. I'm going to show you that in just 1 second. What is an ionospheric heater? Typically 2.8 to 10 megahertz that, deposits electrons in the ionosphere and heats parts of the ionosphere. And, a little bit of history on how it was created, when it was created, and all of that. An old video I did, ionospheric heaters, how HAARP really works. Why do they heat the ionosphere? Use the Christofilos effect to destroy satellites and ICBMs. That was one of the original ideas behind it. Destroy the Van Allen belts. If you listen to some of the crazy individuals out there putting out theories, create artificial ionospheric mirrors to reflect radio frequency waves, create extremely low frequency waves, and like we saw in the PDF over here, they were talking about creating very low frequency waves. There's two types of heating that they do with ionospheric heaters: polar electrojet heating and what's called ionospheric current drive. And with polar electrojet heating, you have to be located near the North or South Pole where the electrojets are to modulate a portion of the sky to create extremely low frequencies. But with ionospheric current drive, this different type of heating, you can be anywhere in the world and do this. That's why the facility at Puerto Rico, the Arecibo Enhanced High Frequency Station, is able to do what it does. It uses a different type of heating where they heat a higher portion of the ionosphere, which then in turn sends Alvin waves, shear Alvin waves, to the lower portion of the ionosphere, which then creates the extremely low frequency waves. So kind of complicated. You turn high frequency into very low frequency, which then makes extremely low frequency, and that goes all over the world. So radio science, the laboratory in the sky with no walls. Create plasma clouds, as the U.S. Naval Research Lab said. Create air glow, as Chris Fallon, he did a lot of experiments on that. The harpoon experiments and all of that. Create holes in the ionosphere. All of these are linked to like dtic.mil and reputable scientific papers on these topics. Modifies the magnetic properties of our planet to probe underground structures. So there's a way for them to actually look underground using some of these waves. And then finally, protect against electromagnetic pulse from solar flares and high altitude nuclear devices. You can't make this stuff up. It was at the satellite threat due to high altitude nuclear detonations by Dennis Papadopoulos. This was called the Tether Panel HAARP study. And they actually put forward funding to rapidly suck radiation out of the sky in case of nuclear war or that sort of thing. And this is a slide from their use HAARP facility in Alaska as a wind tunnel to determine the feasibility and engineering specifications of a mitigation system against electromagnetic pulse. And you can see how the HAARP facility works right there, and how waves are propagated in and out, and how you create artificial aurora and rain out electrons on the poles as such right there. So you shoot out your magnetic missiles, they bounce from pole to pole. Each one of these is called a hop, and that's how they rain out there. But, if HAARP is mothballed, there are many more facilities like it around the world, and you can see them here. And I've got a great little map for you. You can go around and check them out. And what you can do is you can also click right here and go to the big map at ClimateViewer 3D, and it'll go ahead and load that up for you. So what we're going to do real quick is I'm going to make this 3D, and by scrolling down here to the bottom, we're going to bring up the 3D terrain, and then we're going to click on Arecibo, and we're going to fly over there and take a look at that one. Because this is the one that everybody's going to be using now, that HAARP's going to be shut down. And some of you may have seen this in the 007 movies. But basically it looks like this. Down in the bottom of the dome, there are 6 antennas. Those are people right there. The little blue suit guys with the yellow hard helmets. And they have a cast grain antenna suspended just below the gantry overhead, and that's used for focusing and reflecting signals. But because it's a 305 meter dome, it's called the Arecibo Observatory Enhanced High Frequency Ionospheric Heating Instrument. This is going to be one that we're going to be following pretty closely in the near future. And you can come to ClimateViewer 3D and see all of the ionospheric heaters around the globe. And they're mostly in red. So when you look at this, they're the red ones. This is the HAARP facility. I talked to Chris on the phone earlier, and he said, technically the AMISR and the Poker Flat ISR don't count. So I'm going to reclassify them from red reluctantly. I trust his judgment on that. And then the Super Darn down in Jicamarca, Peru, 4.5 megawatts. That's a hell of a facility too. And we've got a couple over here. This is the Sura ionospheric heating facility. We got one down in India, 2.5 megawatts. And we've got this one over here, the Shigaraki MU University in Japan, at a whopping 1 megawatt. That's 1 million watts. Not too shabby. And then, of course, the Tromso ionospheric heater, which is over here. And it actually has 3 separate instruments all in one, which for some reason my little dot disappeared on me. But you can see that here. And this is what it looks like. It's 3 separate ionospheric heaters at different frequencies. When I had Google Earth before they shut it down, I actually had this image overlaid on Google Earth. Doesn't work so well with the cesium I'm using. But regardless, and you can see how old this picture is by the design of ClimateViewer 3D. This was Google Earth back in the day. But regardless, guys, look into all this stuff. Lots to learn. Fun with the map. Dig into that. But whatever you do, if you get the chance, be sure tomorrow to tune into the live stream. The link is already provided, and it will be here. I hope we see that show up. Israel, no ionospheric heaters in Israel. They do have an iron dome with a bunch of lasers and stuff. So Israel does have some pretty wicked lasers. Battlefield 4 map. No, I played Battlefield 5, and that's what I'm going to be doing as soon as this video is over with, which I'm going to be wrapping up right now. If you guys have been following, I've been playing Battlefield 5 on my computer to de-stress, and I do that after every time somebody mentions some of the undesirables on YouTube that apparently think they're competition for me, who never will be. And for everybody else who hasn't seen it, hop over to weathermodificationhistory.com and learn the real history of weather modification, because HAARP and facilities like it do not have the power to control the weather like people say. 10 years ago when I started this, I believed everything I heard, and then I went and did up my own damn research. And the more I learned, and you can see right here, HAARP readies for busiest research season since UAF acquired observatory in 2015, and now apparently they don't have enough money to turn the damn generators on, let alone pay staff. So it's going to be an interesting live stream tomorrow. But you can learn all about the history of weather control from, and here we goes another one. I really want to get one of these Area 49 shirts before, or some of this memorabilia before it's gone. So if anybody wants to send me one, or in fact, Chris, I'll probably text you after this and see if I can still get some of this stuff, because I really cracked up when I first saw it called Area 49. But anyway, HAARP's had a pretty long history, very popular in our community, and some of us may hate to see it go, because there's a whole lot of people who love to hate a thing. And that's just the truth. It's like breaking up with a bad girlfriend. But if they don't get the money, this very expensive antenna system is going to be shut down permanently. But never fear. There are plenty more where that came from, all over the globe, and I'm sure new ones will pop up in the near future. So come look at the history of these sorts of things, and screen print. No, I don't want to rip it off. I did screen printing for 15 years. I could print my own damn HAARP 49 Area 49 shirt if I wanted to, but I want a legit one. Okay, just for the record, I'll put it up on the wall or something behind me as a memento. But regardless, yes, Stomp the Dragon, you need to relearn what you've the movers broke my HAARP Area 49 pint glasses. Oh my gosh. And they're still available for sale. I'm going to get one, and I'm going to drink that thing like a boss. I'll make sure that I drink out of that when I have my green tea filled with the ginger. I miss my coffee. Good Lord. But yeah, I'd like to get a couple of those cups at the very least, just as a memento. Since I didn't make it to the possibly last HAARP open house, which I really wanted to be at, that would have been epic. I was going through a lot of health issues. I'm not now because I decided to put my health above flying all the way to Alaska to harass Chris in person. But regardless, guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in. HAARP could be very shortly, possibly, if the federal funds don't flow in, mothballed. And that would be probably joyous for many, many people. Okay, I can do that. I could easily work up a vector of the logo and print it, and I'd probably get sued by the UAF about the time I put it on my Teespring. But they can't stop me from printing my own, I guess. So that's all fair game. Appreciate it, Chris. But guys, there's the story. You heard it here first. Tomorrow, live stream, possibly by the end of the year, if things don't work out in Congress, and as dysfunctional as it is, it probably, they're right now with an election coming up, and the Democratic Party just hell bent on destroying the president. I seriously doubt they could even pass an NDAA at this point. Oh wait, they always compromise when it comes to spending on handouts and the military. So everything else, it's war. But when it comes down to the Republicans wanting to fund the military and the Democrats wanting to fund entitlements, they always seem to find a way to come together at the last minute and make an agreement to fund all of that crap. And then the rest of the year, it is hair, teeth, and eyeballs. So don't be surprised if, somehow Murkowski or the other senator, pull a rabbit out of their hat, and especially if it goes to the NDAA thing, that would mean that the HAARP facility would be right back in the hands of the Air Force and the U.S. Naval Research Lab where it was to begin with. So that would be kind of funny. Even though they said they really don't need it anymore, they've moved on. The quote was, they've moved on to better ways to manage the ionosphere. We shall see. That remains to be seen. So guys, there's the information. HAARP possibly, could be, maybe mothballed, and there will be a live stream tomorrow. Tune into that. I'm going to record it for posterity. Hopefully my computer doesn't do anything stupid while I'm at MMA, and when I get back it's still recording. I got a terabyte worth of space on my hard drive, so it shouldn't run out of room. But it's supposed to be like a 2 hour, was it 2 hours worth of them talking? I should be able to easily record that, so hopefully nothing goes wrong. I get home, it's recorded just fine. But anybody else, if you guys want to record it too, just so we make sure we have a copy of that, I'll whittle it down to the part where we're talking about HAARP and make sure that we have that up here on the channel so you guys can see them talk about it in person. So guys, now you know, and knowing is half the battle. And I hope that you remember that with information comes power, and with power comes great responsibility. So I ask that you use this information free of charge to attack ideas, not people. Once again, I want to say a quick shout out to my Patreon supporters. I greatly appreciate all of you guys and anybody who's given a one-time donation on PayPal or GoFundMe. All of this information is Creative Commons. You may remix this video, put it on your channel. The information is supposed to be free. It is free. It is yours. Do with it as thou willst, but please give a link back. Please remember to subscribe, and you guys be safe out there, and remember to support my Environmental Modification Accountability Act. Love you, mean it, guys. Have a beautiful weekend. We'll be back.
Kids are impressionable. That's why here at this station, we watch the programs and commercials your child watches carefully. He may see bad guys, but not in the role of heroes. And he'll learn that crime doesn't pay. Because your child's welfare is our concern, too. That's part of our code.
Better than anything you can get without a prescription. Anything. It's the best.